3 years ago, my parents got divorced. The biggest change I have ever experienced. I have learned that change is inevitable. People who say they don't like change or that they are set in their ways are afraid. There's big changes and small changes. Changes that affect your everyday life and changes that determine whether you wear a jacket tomorrow. When those people say they don't like change, they are referring to the big changes, things that could potentially change their routines. But in their eyes, it's in their control whether they move or try something new. Those who are afraid of change live in fear. I understand when the idea of change scares you. It's something new, uncharted waters for most. Change is letting go of the idea of comfort, something out of your comfort zone, something you are unsure of. Sometimes those big changes can take a while to get used to. It doesn't happen overnight and you're fine. Sometimes these things can take months, years even, but you adapt to this idea of change. When I was in 5th grade, my parents got divorced. For me, it wasn't the end of the world. My parents would tell me it's for the better, and I couldn't help but trust them. One thing my mom would say is, look for the good. It was hard. My parents were now living in different houses. My friends treated me differently, as if I wasn't the same person anymore. Even now, I still am not used to it. I still struggle looking for the good, and I get through it. What I have learned is that change is something that takes its course without your consensus. It happens whether you like it or not. I won't try to sugarcoat it because change sucks. There are times when you wish it could have happened another day, any other day but today, or to someone else, and you don't have any other choice but you roll with it. There are changes we all experience, like growing old and changing as a person. But there is also changes some don't experience, and those tend to be the big ones. Change is the first step to learning. If my parents hadn't gotten divorced, I wouldn't be able to have a positive outlook on situations or have a good sense of time management. These are all things that we have to learn. Change is an opportunity to learn to cope with the circumstances or conditions. One big change that happened when my parents got divorced was switching, at 5, every Sunday, every week. That's not something all kids go through, and instead of complaining or wishing this wasn't the reality, I learned from it. And now, I am better at managing my time more wisely. Not only did I learn time management, but I learned to prioritize. Or in other words, it made me realize what was important to me. For some kids, I think they draw away in situations like their parents getting divorced. If anything, it brought me closer. It brought me closer because I think my family needed me, and I needed them. I became closer with my family, and I was also able to communicate how I was feeling and what was going on in my head. There would be times where I'd let my feelings get to the point where all I wanted to do was cry. When I would hold all my concerns and emotions in, it didn't do anything but make every day feel like a bad day. A bad day full of stress, worry, and sadness. Not only do you learn from change, but you become stronger from it. People might think that those who hold their emotions in are weak, too weak to hold it in. But in reality, people who hold their emotions in are afraid that their feelings are wrong or no one will care. Change is just a part of life that you learn to deal with. You can try to avoid it, make it a bigger deal than it is, or you can learn and thrive from it. People change. The weather changes. People's likes and dislikes change. Change happens. Change is how we develop and become our own person. Change is how we thrive.